Hello, for this new tutorial I'm going to show you how to extend the functionality of the CGD Autosave and Load object so you can save your own global variables in case you don't want to, in case you want to extend the functionality. So for that, let's create a new folder inside maps, and I'm going to call it custom CGD SaveGameObject. And I'm going to create a new folder too. I'm going to name it my own SaveGameObject. So first, in my own SaveGameObject, I'm going to create a SaveGameObject here. But first, I'm going to copy the third-person game mode inside these two folders, so I can use a different functionality inside these two folders. I don't change my original functionality. I'm going to make a copy of the player controller too. So in these two folders I have a player controller and a game mode. So I'm going to copy a map here. Use a map that doesn't have sub-levels. So in this case I'm going to copy the level 01 and copy the level 01 in the my own SaveGameObject too. So in these two folders I now have all these objects. So I'm going to name this map custom CGD SaveGameObject, and I'm going to load this map. I'm going to make the same thing with my own SaveGameObject. Okay. Now on my own SaveGameObject, I'm going to load it okay, the names first. So I make sure that the names are different. Now I want to overwrite this game mode in this map. So on world overwrite, I'm going to select a new game mode, and will be the game mode that is here. So on the game mode, I'm going to select the new player controller, I named. So I can select the player controller inside here too. So now I have a new map with a different player controller, so I can change the functionality of the save and load system. First I'm going to create a SaveGameObject. I am doing this because you could already have your own SaveGameObject. So I am doing this to show you how you can convert this SaveGameObject into a CGD SaveGameObject. So I'm going to call it own SaveGameObject, and maybe in your own SaveGameObject you have some variables, and if you want to save this SaveGameObject, I'm going to convert this object into own SaveGameObject. So now it's not the CGD AutoSaveGameObject, so it should not the autofill and autoload actors will not support this object. So I'm going to change the type to set the variable, change the name too. I'm going to set to the new variable to load the game from slot. See how the save load game from slot compressed works with other types of SaveGameObjects, but this autoload actors data from save doesn't work. This only works with my custom SaveGameObject. So in this case, let's imagine that you already have your own SaveGameObject and you want to work with this auto functionality. So the only thing you need to do is to open your SaveGameObject you already have created, but in this case I'm going to make a copy. I recommend you to make a copy of your SaveGameObject because something could happen. In this case I'm going to make a copy, and in the copy I'm going to call it converted to CGD, and here I'm going to my class settings, and in the parent class I'm going to write CGD autosave and load component, autosave and load object, and compile. and it's converted, and you can see that now it has a map record array and it works, and you can do that in your own SaveGameObject. So now I'm going to change the type to the converted to CGD. I'm going to make the same thing here, and now this SaveGameObject should allow to autofill and autoload actor data from save, so it's working. You can see how you can convert your SaveGameObjects into a CGD SaveGameObject. So I'm going to test it and open the door, save, close the door, and it's working. And you see that it's really easy to convert a SaveGameObject into CGD SaveGameObject. Now let's see how we can create a new custom CGD SaveGameObject that will be very similar to a converted SaveGameObject. So I'm going to change the name of these objects first, and I'm going to make the same thing. I'm going to override the game mode and the player controller, so I can change the functionality. Okay, now what I want to do is to create a new CGD SaveGameObject from zero, so I can customize it. So I'm going to select the CGD Autosave and Load object to create a new blueprint. So I'm going to call it Custom CGD SaveGameObject objects, and I'm going to open it. And inside here I can create new variables that could be the global variables you want to save. So in this case I'm going to create a world score, and I'm going to make this world score an integer. And if you remember the previous tutorials, we saved our score inside the third person character. I'm going to make changes here. Custom CGD SaveGameObject. Going to change the type of the CGD SaveGame. So as this object inherits from the CGD SaveGameObject, it works. So I don't need to make a change here. And if I test it, it works. So now I want to extend the functionality of this object. So for that, I want to save the work score instead of saving in the third person character inside here. I want to save this score inside my SaveGameObject as a global variable. So for doing that, let's see. Yes, I'm going to delete this so I don't save the variables here. I'm going to make the things same thing with these macros for the score. So right now the score is not being saved inside this third person character, and we want to save this score inside the global variable. So for that, okay, we could save this score inside here, but I'm going to use the player controller to save this score. So when I save my game, as this is a global variable, maybe it's convenient to save here. In the future, I maybe will give you access to the SaveGameObject inside all the actors. So for now, I'm going to save the world score here. So for getting the score, I'm going to cast to my third person character and get the score. So set it to the world score, and now this world score is being saved. So I'm going to make this a function, save global variables, and well, right now this variable is being saved as a global variable inside the CGDC game object, and I want to do the same thing for loading the variables. So for a load game, um, well, I want to make something similar, so I'm going to make or grab this, copy, paste, and want to get the world score and set this world score to the score from the character. Of course, this is only for testing the way I am doing this. So I'm going to collapse it to a function. I'm going to call it load global variables. So now I think that's it. I'm going to test it. I'm going to copy this to begin play, and now I'm going to play. Well, this AI is not working, probably because I copy and paste the level. You see that the score is working. Score is being saved right now, and it's been saved inside the global variable. And you see that in this way you can extend this SaveGameObject, and it's really easy to extend. So you can save things like the total time you played, or well, something that is global. In this case, the score, the total time played. I think that for now this will be the last tutorial. I'm going to update the plugin in the future as I make my projects. And if you have any question about the plugin, you can ask in the commentaries. I'm going to also upload the project example, the last version of this project example. If you followed all these tutorials, thank you so much, because it's really hard to make this kind of videos, and I hope this plugin is very useful to you. So I'm going to wrap up this video now and make more videos in the future as I update this plugin. So thank you for watching.